This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
Yes, Financial Advice Friday. Let's hit it.
Now, from the Sean Hannity Show.
Everyone is at fault for this free fall.
The dire economic news.
The financial free fall these days.
With the economy in free fall.
The economy continued its free fall.
The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
It's Financial Advice Friday.
Yes, by the way, don't miss our special tonight, Waste 101. We count down the 101 worst ways government's wasting your money through the stimulus. Oh, wait till you hear this stuff. I mean, it's, skateboard parks, pig odor research, catfish genome research. Wait till we have reporters all over the country, including at John Murtha Airport. Wait till you see there. Anyway, we're doing a, abbreviated version of Financial Advice Friday, just this half hour. And with us to answer your financial questions, Dani Babb, founder of the Babb Financial Group, Stuart Varney, Fox Business Network. One quick question, then right to the phones. Commerce Department, the Obama economy, worst in the last 50 years, shrinking at a 5.7% annual pace. Stuart, how bad?
Well, so far we have not arrested the very sharp decline of the U.S. economy. Yes, it is very bad. I don't think we've touched bottom yet. The recession is certainly not over, and the whole thing gets worse as we borrow more, spend more, the dollar goes down, and interest rates start to rise.
Stuart, I think even you're going to like this special I'm doing tonight at 9 on Fox. But, Dani, I mean, it's really frightening. What do you think about what Rubini said, that we may have, a short-term bounce back, but then we're going to head right back into the, middle of all this?
I think he's right. I'm worried about the AAA rating, quite honestly, and I am concerned about the drop in the dollar to the euro, particularly in the last 2 days. And I think that we are in for some trouble, particularly if we're going to start looking at things like the value-added tax, which is going to hurt the poorest of Americans. We haven't seen the commercial paper come through the banking system yet. I don't think we've seen the worst of it.
All right, let's go to our phones. Financial Advice Friday. We start in Washington with Tina. Tina, welcome to the Sean Hannity Show with Dani Babb and Stuart Varney. Hi.
Hi. Thanks, everyone, for taking my call. My husband and I have just started a business, and last year I inherited some of my father's IRAs. It's not a lot, about $45,000, and I was wondering whether it would be better to close those out and put those as capital into the business to get it going, or whether I should leave them put. They've lost about 40%, but I can take them out without penalty.
I'd put it into the business. Great time to start a small business. Get on with it. They create jobs in America. We're beaten down. I'd take a chance. I would. I'd take a flyer. Entrepreneurial America lives. Go for it, Tina.
Thanks.
What do you think, Dani?
This is the time in my lifetime to start a small business. There are a lot of reasons for that. You can get the cheapest labor. You can get great qualified people. You get people that are sick of working for corporate America. You can actually be in charge of your own destiny and not worry about being laid off. If you can do this without penalty, and you can get vendors that are willing to do financing today, you should absolutely go for it.
All right.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the advice.
Tina, good luck to you. We appreciate it. Gary, Virginia Beach, Virginia, NIS. What's up, Gary? You're on Financial Advice Friday with Dani Babb, Stuart Varney. Hi.
Hey, Sean. Appreciate you taking my call. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your help today. My question is, with Obama's policies, I think, really killing our economy, and I believe that the result of it being hyperinflation coming soon, what would be the best 3 businesses to get into, or the best 3 investments to be into to be prepared for that?
You want to go with that, Dani?
That's a great question, Gary. You know what? I'll tell you the 3 I'm looking at. I agree with you on the hyperinflation potential here. I am looking at healthcare. I am looking at energy, and I am looking at, believe it or not, investing in private educational institutions, groups like Apollo, Capella, Laureate Education, and so on. I think that will be a very good inflation hedge. Only my opinion.
Gary, I would suggest you go into selling the gold coin business. I think they're going to do very, very well. Hyperinflation is coming. All kinds of people are buying gold coins. Straightforward, cash business. Go to it.
Let me ask you that. Let me ask you as a follow-up, and I hope that answers your question, Gary. What is going to happen in terms of treasuries And is that going to be, for example, the Treasury bond rate's going to go higher and higher, especially as we hit inflation? And is that going to be a good, more stable investment for people, secure investment?
It's already started, Sean. It's already started. The yield on the 10-year Treasury has gone from 2.8% to 3.7% in a couple of months. That is a huge gain. Why is this happening? Because we are borrowing so much money. I think we're going to be borrowing $2 trillion this year. We've got to keep offering higher and higher interest rates to get people to lend us the money. That means Treasury prices go down. If you're going to buy something, a Treasury for security, all well and good, but make it short-term, make it a 3 or a 6 month, and hold it to maturity. Don't buy long-term stuff because the price will go down, and if you have to sell, you'll make a loss.
Danny?
Yeah, the stock market tends to move in the opposite direction. So as the bond rate goes up, we're going to see the stock market historically go down. So I completely agree with Stuart.
Well, I told you both that I took half my money out of the stock market. I said I've had enough of this. I don't think the long-term prospects are strong. I think the debt is too high. The deficits are too high. And I can see America having a lost decade or worse. And I don't feel like gambling. I just want to preserve the little capital that I've got. Let's go to our phones. Ian is in Boise, Idaho. BOI. What's up, Ian? How are you? Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Sean. You're a great American.
Thank you.
My wife and I, we did it right through the 90s and early on in the 2000s. We didn't get in over our head. We saved our money, and we're now in a position to buy a second house as an investment. Is that a good investment right now? In Boise, the values have dropped like they have around the nation. We can pick up a house that, a year ago was selling for, close to $900,000. We can pick them up for closer to $300,000 to $400,000 on a short sale. Is that a good investment?
Well, if you can meet the payments on the second home, it sounds okay, but I think you've got to have a word of caution here. I think this real estate cycle is going to take at least 10 years before we get back to the same price levels that we knew in 2006, especially in the hottest markets. If you buy a second home and you hold it for a couple of years, and if you're buying at a low price, you might get 10, 20% out of it in a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years, but there is risk here. And you've got to wait a long time before you get back to the good old days of very high prices that we saw in 06.
Well, go ahead, Danny, go ahead.
Ian, just another word of caution here. Boise, in particular, was just put on the foreclosure list in the top 5 places to watch for potential foreclosures in the next 6 months. So I think you're going to see a lot more come down the pipe in the next 6 months, particularly in your area. So I would probably wait until after the fire sale in spring and summer, and wait until fall when banks and people are even more desperate in your area. I do think that real estate is a very good long-term investment. I'm heavily invested in real estate myself. I think getting a second home is great. Here's one thing, though, you need to keep in mind. The average occupancy is about 75%, so make sure that you can pay that mortgage and that your rent, don't assume that you're going to make in rent whatever your mortgage is. You're going to make whatever the value of the rent is. Go to rent-o-meter.com to get rent valuations for that area. Make sure that it's something that you can do, even if you only had 75% occupancy. But overall, I think it's an excellent idea.
Thanks for the call. Justin in California, Financial Advice Friday with Dani Babb and Stuart Varney. Hi.
Hey, Sean, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything you and Levin do. I really do. I was calling.
Thank me. What are you wearing?
Go
ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hi, Danny and Stuart. I'm calling. I have a situation where I finally saved enough for a 7-8% down on a house, and as a first-time buyer. But I'm in California, so I'm looking at trying to move to Texas. I've already kind of spoken to my employer, and they're willing to let me work remotely. I did for my girlfriend's pregnancy. We just had a baby girl. She's 6 months, and then I also have a 6-year-old. So
congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Sean. I wanted to know, would tax law for California still apply if I'm working remotely from the state of Texas, or would I be based on the Texas tax law?
No, I think it'd be based on the Texas tax law. You're earning in Texas, you pay in Texas. I think that's the case, right, Danny?
Yeah, absolutely right, Stuart. Here, the rule is 6 months. So if you're in California more than 6 months of this year, then you're going to have to file. Now, California, I run into this too, working remotely in California for other states. You're going to have to file in California anyway, and then they're going to give you a credit for the tax that you pay to Texas for the first year. Also, the 7 to 8% down that you have saved, new rule coming down the pipe, looks like it actually may pass, and that's that the tax credit that you can get, you may be able to use in the next couple of weeks up front. Trade it with the lender. If you get a $6,000 credit, it costs you about 2.5% to trade it as part of the down payment. So you actually may be able to put more down than you think.
I hope that answers your question. Is that all right, Justin?
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend.
All right, you have a great weekend. Appreciate it. Nate, San Antonio, WOAI with Stuart Varney and Dani Babb. How are you, Nate?
I'm well, Sean. You're a great American.
Thank you, my friend. You're a great American.
My question is, I just got laid off, and I've got a 4-month-old baby boy trying to sell my house. I'm going to take probably about a $50,000 to $60,000 hit on the house. At this point, with my investments, my 401ks and my IRAs, do I take those out to provide for the family, or do I leave them in and fall back on some other means?
I would have to say that taking them out is a very serious move with a huge downside deal. You're going to pay a 10% penalty of everything that comes out, and everything that comes out is also taxable as ordinary income. That's a serious move. You take a hit right there just taking it out. You've got to balance how much you've got, how much cash you've got to take care of your family versus what you lose if you liquidate the IRA or the 401k. Very difficult decision to make, but don't ever underestimate the downside of cashing in an IRA early. It hurts.
Now, how about with the 401k? Is that as bad?
Yeah, 401k is exactly the same. If you cash out before you're 59 and a half, you'll lose 10% penalty. It's taxed as ordinary income. You lose a lot.
Okay.
Check out, just really quick, Nate, check out the ability to borrow against it. I know generally if you no longer work for the employer, they don't allow it, but in some cases when you can prove hardship, they do. So if you don't have any other means of savings at all and you're concerned you're not going to get a job really quick, particularly with a child and so on, you're trying to sell your house, and I'm not sure if you think you're going to be able to sell quickly and have some equity there, but try to see if you could borrow against that. I have seen cases where the 401k companies are allowing that, but there are very, very tight specific rules, but something to look into.
Appreciate the call, Nate. I hope that helps you, buddy. Thank you, and best of luck to you in getting that new job, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it. And let's go to Brian out on Long Island, our flagship WABC. Brian, welcome to Financial Advice Friday with Stuart Varney and Dani Babb. Hi.
Thank you, Sean. You're a great American. Love your radio and show.
Thank you, my friend.
Just a quick question. I'm a 19-year-old college student. I'm going to be into my junior year, and I'm pretty much trying to save up now. I'm deciding to actually go to graduate school, save up for my master's and everything. And I do one day plan to move out of the house and live on my own. What is the best way to, put money away? Because my credit union isn't great with the interest rates.
But you are safe with a credit union. You are safe with a bank CD. You are safe with a savings account. You're safe with a money fund. You sleep well at night. You're not taking any risk. Always remember that. And, I got to commend you. If you're thinking about saving on a regular basis at the age of 19, you, sir, are on the right track because you're learning financial discipline at exactly the right age. Young man, you will do well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Wow. And think about paying some of it. I don't know if you have the ability to pay the school down as well, but that may be an option if you're planning on taking out a loan. That may be an option as well. And look at some if you don't have a school picked out, look at some sponsored tuition universities that are popping up out there. They're accredited and they help you out with your tuition substantially.
All right, appreciate the call. I hope that helps you, Brian. Okay, buddy, good luck.
All right, thanks.
The fact that you're thinking this way means you are light years ahead of others. Trust me, okay? All right, appreciate it. All right, let's go to Chuck in Maryland. Chuck, Sean Hannity Show, Financial Advice Friday with Stuart Varney and Dani Babb. What's going on, Chuck?
Hi, Sean. You really are a great American. Fabulous show.
Thank you, my friend.
My question is this. I have, a while back, I bought $20,000 worth of those GM bonds at a discounted price, which pays quite high interest. Now, I understand as of today that the bankruptcy circumstances provides that the big bondholders cut deals, that the bonds are going to be converted to stock at the rate of 300 shares per $1,000 of bond value. If that happens, what advice do you have in the future as to, I would hypothetically get 6,000 shares of the new company, the new GM stock. I don't need the money right now. I'm over 65, but I'm continuing to work at a very good income. Where do you think this thing is going as far as that stock value is concerned, assuming all the above is true?
I think it will be years and years before there is any value in that stock. General Motors is a shell of a company. It's totally insolvent. It's completely kept going by 40, 50 billion of taxpayer dollars. It's going to need a lot more taxpayer dollars before it's in any way, shape, or form righted financially. I got to say, I would measure the time to any kind of value in your GM shares in years, multiple years. I got to say 5 years.
Yeah, I might actually even go longer than that. It's a shell of a company, and there's not much to save. I think that you actually may see another bankruptcy later on down the road that does not involve recovery.
Well, guys, listen, it's an abbreviated version today. We're only doing the first half hour. But, guys, Stuart Varney, Dani Babb, your advice is invaluable and really helping people during these very troubled times economically. Help make good economic decisions for their future and their family. Thank you both for being with us. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Take care.
And by the way, we have a special tonight on Hannity. How the government is wasting your money. From the omnibus to the stimulus, we're going to count it down. All right, folks, went long with Financial Advice Friday. Let not your heart be troubled. We'll come back. We'll get to a lot of your phone calls in the remaining time we have today. And we've got Rich Little coming up to put a smile on our face this Friday. And a special Hannity tonight, Waste 101. We're going to count down 101 areas where the stimulus and omnibus are just taking your money and pouring it down the toilet. That's tonight at 9 on the Fox News Channel. We'll continue.
We know you never want to miss the Sean Hannity Show. And now you never have to. Just sign up for Hannity Headlines. A bite-sized version of the show that you can take with you on your laptop, your mobile phone, everywhere you go. Even to your liberal in-laws' place in Vermont.
Yeah.
And after a few hours of that, you'll be glad you brought Sean along. To sign up today for Hannity Headlines, go to Hannity.com.
All right, let's get to our busy telephones here. Rich Little's going to join us, put a smile on our face this Friday, coming up in our final hour today. In the let's start with a liberal. Let's get this out of the way. Christian, Atlanta, News Talk, 750 WSB. What's up, Christian?
Sean, how you doing, man?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
What's going on?
Well, I wanted to ask you about America being the greatest, best country God has ever given man on the face of the earth.
Yeah, that's a quote I often use, so obviously you're quoting me.
I'm definitely quoting you. By
the way, folks, he spent a lot of time. I can tell you this is a prepared caller, and let me just tell you, he thinks he's got me in a trap. Go ahead, trap me.
No, I'm not trapping you. I'm expecting the trap. So I've heard you openly criticize Obama about his statements about American arrogance with regards to foreign policy. And, I've heard you say that statement over the course of the past year. And a good piece of me believes that exemplifies the exact attitude in which he's speaking about.
A small part of me believes you're advocating the principles you're speaking about. I'm trying to understand what you mean.
That, when Obama said American arrogance, I've heard you openly.
Well, I'll tell you when he said it. He said it in France. He said America's shown arrogance. We've been dismissive, even derisive towards Europe. Then he went to Prague, and he pledged that America will seek security and peace in a world without nuclear weapons. And then he went to Venice. Remember, he sat down with Chavez, gave him this anti-American book. Then he listened through Marxist Ortega's blaming America rant. And then in Turkey, he said America was not a Christian nation. And then in Mexico, he said that the escalating border violence was essentially America's fault.
Right. So what's wrong with taking in all this information and using it to evaluate all these different situations and using it as a knowledge base to make intelligent decisions?
Well, obviously, you probably agree with most of these statements. So I don't, because you know what? I think in France, I don't have any problem saying that America's made mistakes. We're not a perfect country, a perfect people. But what would the world look like but for the United States of America, especially when you are in Europe and you're out there? Because he wants to be liked by these European leaders, and one of the things that really one of the things that frustrates me is America's story in Europe is one of sacrifice, one of generosity, one of goodwill, one of literally saving a continent from disaster. America has paid the price.
Nation.
What?
We're also a growing nation, and, I'm kind of a futurist. I look forward 1,000 years, and I wonder what our nation is going to be like in that time. And I look at...
Well, we're going to be, if Obama has his way, we won't have any money left. If Obama has his way, we'll be a nice socialist utopia, bankrupt, and we'll be confiscating the wealth.
Socialism's relative.
Well, it's not. Socialism is not relative. Socialism is a wealth destroyer. Socialism does not fulfill the promises that they make, and it's been proven time and time again. Look, it's going to end up in bankruptcy, and we're going to have to reverse course. And I'm going to tell you something. He is literally laying the foundation for the next wave of conservatism. I know liberals don't want to hear that. We just had an election. Yeah, Hannity, how can you say this? But there is an ebb and flow to political cycles. And, for example, Great Britain had Margaret Thatcher, and then it moved back towards Labour. Benjamin Netanyahu.
3.5 years for you.
Well, we'll see what happens. But the bottom line is I think if he's the president of the United States, I'd go out there and remind people of America's goodness, America's greatness, America's sacrifice, America's defense of the natural state of mankind, which is God-given freedom. And I don't think there'd be much freedom in the world but for the sacrifice of America. So I think America, in that sense, we are owed a debt of gratitude.
I agree, but looking forward as a growing nation, and what I'm talking about, move forward 1,000 years and look at countries like China who have a population that is 4 times ours. Their societal issues outweigh ours by any inkling of a clue that we have. The problems that they deal with the population.
Well, how do they deal with them? By destroying individual freedom, by suppressing free thought, by suppressing freedom of expression.
They're much more big brother than we are. But
much more? No, there is no freedom. There is no freedom. There is, and that's the difference. And it's total state control.
But imagine what happens when your population extends beyond what...
Well, if you think the state is capable, there's no evidence that there's no evidence that what you're advocating out of what you think might be a necessity in the future, that would ever be successful. Think about what you're saying here. You're literally advocating, well, you look at China, they've got to do it. They're 4 times the population of the United States. They've got to control the people and the masses. Well, then you might as well take our founding document that we're endowed by our Creator, and we might as well just throw it out the window. All right, let me move on. You're beginning to irritate me. Not that you're not a good caller. It's only so much patience I have by the end of the week. Back to our phones. Diane in Mount Sinai, New York. What's up, Diane?
Hi, Sean. I just want to say I love you and I love your show.
Thank you.
And you're a great American.
I love you back.
I just want to make a few points. On the judge nominee, I think clearly what her remarks were racist. Whether or not she is a racist or not, her remarks were, and if a white male or female made those remarks, they definitely would not even, wouldn't be even, the media would be all over them, attacking them left and right instead of praising their wonderful story. And the other thing I want to make is that I'm a pediatric nurse, and I used to work in the unions. I used to work in the hospitals like an animal, and I used to get treated like understaffed, underpaid, underappreciated.
I say that all the time.
Holidays, weekends, getting mandated to work, which is really, mandation is against your free will. And I didn't make a lot of money. I left the hospitals. I started doing pediatric home care, and I take care of children in their homes. And I'm appreciated. I'm paid a lot more by a big corporation that is wonderful to me. And I have the freedom to make my own hours, to get paid more, to not have to work holidays, not have to work weekends. So I think I have a lot more choice and a lot more freedom in my job, and I get paid a lot more, and I get respected and treated like a human being. So there's something to say about the unions. And then one more thing I just want to say: my husband is Portuguese. He's from Portugal, and he's been here. He's a legal resident, and his family was here. And my mother-in-law got sick 2 years ago, and she got an ear infection. She didn't treat it right away. She's one of these tough, doesn't like take medicine. And when she went to the hospital, she was treated right away. She had never applied for Medicaid, Medicare. She's just one of these people that doesn't mooch off the system and doesn't even apply for the things she's entitled to. And she was treated right away, regardless. She was taken in, she was treated, and she was alive, and she's great now. If she was in her own country, in Portugal, where they have democratic socialism, she would be dead. So that's the difference. They say that we don't have good health care. We have the best health care in the world. even though, I do think the hospitals need to be staffed properly so that people aren't overworked and so that people are, get better care. But we don't turn anybody away. So like you've said many times on your show, I think we
Diane,
have the best.
did you ever think of getting into talk radio? No. It's a great story. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing you because you're like me. I never, you have long stories to tell, and they're all
my
enchanting.
dad is a great American, and he actually met you. You signed his hat. He met you in Huntington when you did the book signing with Mark Levin.
Thank me. Yes.
And he said you said his hands were cold. I think you shook your hands outside. But he raised me this way, and I'm a firm believer in everything that you believe in, and I think we really need to start fighting.
Well, I'm giving a speech tomorrow, and thank you for the call. And tell your dad I said hi, and I really appreciate it. I remember when I went outside, it was cold, and I was shaking a lot of people's hands out there. But look, I'm giving a speech tomorrow in Richmond in the morning, and to the Republican Party, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I am looking forward to just outlining what I think Republicans need to be focused on, because I think there's been too much contortions and admonitions. We've gone through this period of introspection. I never needed to go through it because I never got off my path. But now that liberalism has been exposed and socialism is the order of the day, well, now there is a competing vision that the Republicans can outline for the country. And my advice to them is to do it. And I'm going to tell them what I think they ought to do. Whether they'll listen to me or not is up to them. I don't know, and I don't really care. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to give them my speech because I care about this country, and I want to see them on the right path. I want to see conservatism back in play. It's possible to win elections. You've got to stop listening to the media. You've got to stand for something. You've got to inspire people. And you have the perfect opportunity now for Americans to compare and contrast two competing visions for what this country needs to be. And then I'm going to give my speech. I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go home and I'm going to pick up tennis balls. That's what I'm going to do because that's all I do every weekend. And my point is that we have an incredible opportunity before us if only we'll take it. All right, back to our phone. Oh, we got a couple of other liberals here. All right, Jackie, Orlando, AM 580 WDBO. What's up, Jackie? How are you? Are you there? I'm good. What's going on?
Just want to let you know that you're a great American.
Thank you. You too.
And I just want to let you know that I was a Democrat. And this election, my family and I voted Republican. We voted for McCain and Palin. We voted based on experience and not color. And our counterparts have done the opposite, and we've been scrutinized. And let me tell you, just because of, we voted on principle.
Am I understanding you? So you're saying you're African-American, and you and your family voted for McCain-Palin, and that you have come under scrutiny and have been somewhat ostracized because of it?
Absolutely.
By other African-Americans?
Yes.
All right, well, I just want to make sure I understood you. Go ahead.
And I just want you to know I don't support the nominee, and it has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with principles. And it seems like people have just thrown that out of the window in terms of, how they view the world, it seems to me. But, I just want to let you know
that the Democratic Party, they play this identity politics. They literally... look, it's a tactic of theirs. They divide people, into categories: rich versus poor, young versus old, races against each other. I mean, that's how they play the political game. I mean, look at the ads they've run, the racial ads that have been run by the Democratic Party over the last however many election cycles. It'll happen in future election cycles, and it's as predictable as the day is long. The only thing I would say, Jackie, is I think for those that say, well, the Republicans need to reach out to the African-American community, to the Hispanic community, I think I don't see where the Republican Party is not doing those things. It's almost like, Chuck Schumer, well, you oppose Sotomayor at your own peril. In other words, that if Republicans oppose a Hispanic woman, they're gonna suffer with the Hispanic vote in future elections. Well, if that was the case, then I guess he and his fellow Democrats would not have smeared and besmirched and attacked Miguel Estrada. Remember the infamous memo? He's particularly dangerous because he's Hispanic. They wouldn't have attacked Alberto Gonzalez based on the same logic and reasoning. They wouldn't have attacked Clarence Thomas as viciously and as meanly as they did in that case. I don't look at America that way. I mean, if we're really going to live up to our credo that all men are created equal, which is what I believe, or that we judge people by the content of their character, then you don't see race. You don't see color. Oh, Hannity, you're full of... No, I don't look at people that way. I'm a Christian. And if I believe as a Christian that God created us all, then I believe that. And so I think we all have individual specific talents, and that, living in freedom is the only way you're going to find those talents. But I don't like this idea of just going for a particular vote or a voting block. I think if you believe in a strong national defense, energy independence, free market solutions, capitalism, the party of the American dream, if you believe government spends too much, needs to get out of the way, if you believe in fiscal responsibility, I think that benefits anybody, regardless of your background. But anyway, good call. Jackie, God bless. Thank you for checking in with us. We appreciate it. Rich Little, by the way, will put a smile on our face this Friday as we wrap things up. Now, special edition tonight, Hannity, Waste 101, 101. We're going to count them down, the top waste, your money being wasted by your government, and you are not going to believe the list. Nobody in the media has done this. We're going to count down 101 waste. Well, just think about this. The 101 biggest waste projects that your money went to pay for. It's unbelievable. Tonight at 9 on Hannity. Rich Little in our next hour. He'll put a smile on your face as we head home on a Friday.